Hi, Derieck Hodges here with Anchor Point Wealth Management. One of the things that we focus a lot on is tax planning. We figure if we can save our clients money on their tax situation, that makes their money work harder for them. Now, we all have a civic responsibility to pay our fair share of taxes, but we don't have to pay more than our fair share. And so, legitimate tax planning strategies have the effect of helping lower our potential taxation and then ultimately making our money work harder, and we can then use that money for something else. So what I've got on the screen is a tax planning tool that analyzes a number of situations. So what we do is we took the actual 2020 tax return of our fictitious clients, and we put all of the information that shows up on the tax return in these various rows. So in 2020, this first column right here, the wages for this couple was $240,000. They had some interest income. They had some dividends from investments. And then going further on, they had some capital gains and loss activity for some investments that they owned. And then they had some Schedule C business income. That brought their total income for 2020 to right around $286,000. Now, they also got some what we call above the line deductions for things like a health savings account contribution. And what that did is that brought their adjusted gross income to just about $280,000. Now, in their case, they have quite a bit of deductions that are allowed as itemized tax deductions, things like mortgage interest, medical expenses, and charitable giving. And so in this couple's case, they have $46,450 of itemized tax deductions. That brought their taxable income down to $232,000. And in this couple's case, they had some tax credits that they were entitled to. And that resulted in total tax of $36,306. Now that's federal tax. Okay, federal tax $36,306. That meant they fell into the 24% bracket. But one of the important things to remember is it's not the marginal bracket that's so important, it's your effective or average tax rate that's really relevant. So if we go to this report right here, we take all that information that we had and we summarize it. And in this couple's case, while they did fall into the tax bracket of 24%, you can see that that bracket ranges from $171,050 to $326,600. And what's important to remember with a progressive tax system, they paid 10% tax on part of their income, 12% on another part. A big chunk of their income was taxed at 22%, and then only those last dollars exceeding 171 were taxed at 24%. That resulted in being in the 24% bracket, but this average or effective tax rate was 12.7% on a federal basis. So that's important to remember. So they paid about 13% in federal tax. We then said, well, what if in 2021 we look at the same scenario? What's the 21 tax code look like? So this column right here, we brought over the information from 2020 and came all the way down and said their income is going to be roughly the same as 2020, which is exactly what we wanted to see. So what does the tax situation look like in 2021? About the same tax liability. So what that tells us, not any real significant tax law changes for 2021. So then we said, all right, well, what are some opportunities? For 2021 in this third column here, we said, what about doing a Roth IRA conversion? Taking money out of an IRA or a 401k, subjecting it to taxation now with the hopes of putting it into a Roth IRA, letting it grow, and then giving us a tax-free distribution stream later on in life. That can be a powerful tool if you think taxes are going to go up. So what does that look like? You scroll down, we're saying that these folks are going to do a $50,000 Roth conversion. We're on the very left, Roth conversion. everything else being the same. So if you come all the way back down to our report, that puts their adjusted gross income at $329,813, and that means their taxable income after deductions is $282, so $50,000 higher. That's that Roth IRA conversion. And so what that's going to result in is total tax of $48,598. So certainly more absolute tax dollars, but if you figure this couple was paying around 13% taxes, that may seem pretty reasonable. So if we look at the tax report on this case, here's that Roth IRA version, and it, even with that Roth IRA conversion, there's a 14.5% effective tax rate. That person may say, or that couple may think, that's a reasonable deal. I like the Roth IRA. I think taxes will be higher. This is a good planning tool. So then the final version we looked at is, what if a person said, I really would like to do the Roth, but I really don't want to pay that much tax? Well, these folks were already very charitable people. They had quite a bit of itemized deductions, and part of it was charitable giving. So in their case, they said, what if we do a Roth IRA conversion, but then we also put money into a donor advised fund? It's a charitable instrument where you can push some investments or cash into it and get an upfront large tax deduction, and then give money over a period of time to various charities. So these folks had been giving $25,000 a year away. They're going to put another $50,000, so a total of $75,000 of giving in 2021. So if they do that in conjunction with a Roth conversion, we started out 2021 baseline $36,000. With a Roth IRA, it jumped up to $48,000, and even then, it was still a pretty low effective tax rate. Then with a donor advised fund, they're right back to where they would have been in the baseline scenario, and they've accomplished a couple things. They've got their giving for the next several years allocated for, and they've done a very powerful tool in the Roth IRA conversion. So in this final version, they end up accomplishing a bunch of different things, and their effective tax rate is just under 11% on a federal basis. So I hope this helps explain, when we talk about tax planning, how it can be so impactful, that it brings that to light and shows you just some of the possibilities. Now, there are many more other possibilities. So if you'd like to discuss those and other ways that you can plan with your taxes to make your financial plan even more successful, give us a shout, schedule a meeting. We'd love to visit about it. Till we meet, be well. If you like what you heard today, you'd like to learn more about this or other financial topics, please visit our website where we have a lot of information.